8 in our Sidur for Yedid Nefesh. Yedid Nefesh Avarachama Meshom Chadecham Eretzonecha Yarutz Avdecha Kemo Ayam Yishtachave Emuladadecha Yedablo Yedidosecha Mino Fetzu Vechol Ta'am Adurna Keyanalai Zib Haolam Avshikola Ahavatecha Ana Elana Refa'ana la Vecharos lava Noam ziva Az titchazek Metitrave Mehaitan la Simchat olam Vatik yehemuna Ananarachamecha Mechusana Alvenahumecha Akinyeza Kavan Nechsavti Ve'robeti Feret Uzecha Elech Hamdan Vinis Vechusana Ve'atitalem Migomalena Tros Chavini Alai Et Sukat Shelomecha Ta'ir Eretz Michvodecha Nagila V'nismecha Ma'echov Kivamoe V'chaneinu Imeola What is so luminous about a day? What is so precious to captivate the hearts? It is because the seventh day is a mine where spirit's precious metal can be found with which to construct the palace in time, a dimension in which the human is at home with the divine, a dimension in which humans expire to approach the likeness of the divine. Chadodi on page 9 and 10. Lecho Neranena Ladonai Na'aria Letzur Yeshenu Nekadem Afana Metoda Bezninos Nari Yalo Yal Gadol Adonai Melech Gadol HaKol Elohim Asher B'yado Mekeret V'Sofo Sarim Lo Asher Lo Hayam Hu Asam Yebesh Yisod V'Tzavu Al Tashu Levavchem Kivah Ki Yom Asam B'Midbar Asher Nisuni Avosechem Gam Ra'u Fo'ali 40 Shana Akut Medo Va'omar Am To'el Levavchem Vehem Lo Yadu Derachai Asher Nishbati V'yapi Im Yevon El Menuchasi Shiru Ladonai Shir Chandash Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz Shiru Ladonai Baruch Hu Shemo Vasu Miyom Leyom Yeshuato Sapelu Vagoyim Kemodo Emet Chol Ha'amim Ifnotah Ki Gadol Adonai Umolal Me'od Norahu Al Kol Elohim Ki Kol Elohim Amim Elilim V'Adonai Shamayim Masa O Lehadar Lefanav O Zetiferet B'Mikdasho Ahavu L'Adonai Mishpechot Amim Ahavu L'Adonai Kavod Ba'oz Ahavu L'Adonai Kevod Shemo Se'u Minecha Kol Chatzotav Ishtachavu L'Adonai Behadrat Kodesh Hilu Mifanav Kol Haaretz Hilu Vagoyim Adonai Malach Aftikon Tevel Batimot Yadim Amim B'Mesharim Yismechu Hashamayim V'Tagel Haaretz Yiram Hayam Umelo Yalo Sadai Lecho Asher Bo Azinanenu Kol Hatzeyar Lifnei Adonai Kiva Lishpot Haaretz Yishpot Tevel V'Tzedek Be'amim Be'emunato צדק ומשפט בכל כיסו, אש לפניו תלך. Tam Elyon על כל הארץ. עוד נעלה על כל אלוהים. אוהבי אדוני, שינו רע. שומר נפשו חסידיו, מיד רשעים יצילם. ועזרו על הצדיק ולישראל בשמחה. שמחו צדיקים באדוני, והודו לזכר קדשו. מזמור שיר, לאדוני שיר חדש on page 15 and 16. השיר לו ימינו זרוע קדשו דילו. הרי לבני המלך אדוני, ירם הים ומלואו וביושביה, ליערו שמחה וכף, יחד הרים ירננו. לבני אדוני קיווה, לשפוט הארץ, ישפוט תבל בצדק, וימים ואמונתו. אדוני מלאך תגן ירגזו עמים, יושב טובים. On page 17 and 18. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו וישתחו ולאדם רגליו קדוש הוא משה ואהרון לכהניו. ושמוע בקורא שמו, קוראים אל אדוני והוא יענה. בעמוד ענן ידבר עליהם. שמרו עדותיו וחוק נשן עמו. אדוני אלוהינו אתה נישא, אל נושא יישא לכם ונוקם על עלינוסה. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו וישתחוו להר קודשו, כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו. Please rise if you are able. מזמור לדוד, Psalm 29 on page 19 and 20. מזמור לדוד, הבו לאדוני בני כלים, הבו לאדוני כבוד בעוז. איי איי איי, הבו לאדוני כבוד שמו, ישתחוו לאדוני באדרת קודש. כל אדוני על המים, אל הכבוד ירים. אדוני על מים רבים, כל אדוני בכוח. כל אדוני בחדר, כל אדוני שובר ארזים, משבח אדוני את עשנו, ולכידיים כמו עגל לבנו בסיר יום, כמו בין רעמים. איי איי איי, כל אדוני חוצב להבות אש, כל אדוני יכין מדבר, יכין אדוני מבת קדש, כל אדוני חולל איילון ויחסו יערון ובהיכלו כולו אומר כבוד. איי איי איי, אדוני למה בו ישר ישב, אדוני מלך לעולם, אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך לעמו בשלום. איי 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 yandai, nandai, yada, da, 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 bam, ba, da, da, yama, ba, 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 yama, ma, yama, ba, ba, ba. You may be seated, everyone. We turn to page 21 and 22. Please, with the strength of your loving hands, untie the binding knots. Receive the song of your people. Strengthen, cleanse us unfathomable. We who seek your unity, guide us as the apple of your eye. Bless us, cleanse us with your righteous compassion. Always be granting us your kindness. Mighty Holy One, in your great generosity, lead this flock. Yachid gay, singular and lofty. Le'amecha fanei, to your people turn. Zochre kidushasecha, chanting of your holiness. Receive our purpose and our prayers and hear our cry. You who know our secret things. Le'olam avo. Yachid geyeh le'amecha fanei zochrei kedushasecha yachid geyeh le'amecha fanei Zochrei kedushasecha. If your eyes are not already closed, I invite you to close your eyes and just relax. If your legs are crossed, just to uncross your legs and sit up straight in your chair. If you feel comfortable, rolling your shoulders back a little bit and just bringing your awareness to sounds in this room that are effortlessly available as you turn attention towards what is heard. What is heard. Just noticing if there's any effort involved in awareness. Does it take any of your energy? Does it zap your energy to turn your attention towards the body? Or is it just like that, turning without a goal, without anything other than noticing what already is in the body at this moment? How presence itself can transform, how being with whatever is true can transform it just by being with it. And then as we bring awareness to the body, also maybe noticing the quality of your breath at this moment. And paying particular attention to the exhale as we release the breath and release the weak. To receive Shabbat is to be available. Being available now. And whenever you feel comfortable opening your eyes, if you'd like to find the words to Lecha Dodi on page 23 and 24. Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabel Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabel Shamor V'Zachor V'Dibur Echad Yishmiyahanu El Hamyuchad Adonai Echad Ushmo Echad L'Shemu Tiferet V'Lesila Lecha Dodi Likras Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Likrat Shabbat Lechu V'Nelcha Ki Mekor Haveracha Merosh Mikeh Nesucha Sof Ma'aseh B'machshavat Tchila Lecha Dodi Likras Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Lecha Dodi Likras Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Mikdash Melech Melucha Kumitzei mitocha hafecha Arav lach sheves b'emek hamacha Vehu yachamol alayichem lalecha Dodi likras kala b'nei Shabbat Kahavela lecha Dodi likras kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela Yisnak Ari me afar kumi Livshi big day sif artech avni Al yad bani shai Beisalachni korva el nafshi Ge ala lecha Dodi likras kala B'nei Shabbat nekabela lecha Dodi Likrat kala B'nei Shabbat nekabela Hitoreri Kiva orech Kumi ori Shir daberi Kevod Adonai Alayek nigla lecha Dodi likras kala B'nei Shabbat nekabela lecha Dodi likrat kala B'nei Shabbat nekabela lecha Dodi likrat kala B'nei Shabbat nekabela lecha Dodi likras kala B'nei Shabbat nekabela Umbarai nai ay 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 nai 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 ay la 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 ay la 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 lo tevoshi velo tikalni ma tishtochachi u'ma techemi ma yechesu ani ונמנתה יראתי לה, לילה דודי, לילה לקראת קלה, בני שבת, בני שבת נקמלה, היו למשיסה שוסאי, ורחקו חומר בלעי, יסיס עלי אלוהי, עם סוס חתן הקלה, לילה אדוני, לילה קלה, לילה בני שבת, בני שבת נקמלה, ימין ושמאל תגעי רוצי, את אדוני תעריצי, על יד איש ואין פרצי, ונשמחה ונגילה. היי לך דודי, היי לקראת כלה, היי בני
שבת, בני שבת נקבלה.
היי לללה יללה יללה, היי לללה יללה, היי לללה יללה. Ammarana yalla la la la, amna yalla la la la, hey la 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 yalla la la la, hey la 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 ya ya, amna la ya, amna la ya la, amna la ya ma ma ma, amna la ya ma ma ya ma ma, amma ya ma ya ma ma ma. Please rise, everybody. As we turn to face the door, this customary symbol of receptivity, to be the people of the door, which we are. For 2 millennia plus, we have been standing by the door in faith, hoping that the door will open and the Messianic era or the new consciousness that we pray for will have arrived. And so as we usher in the Shabbat queen, the Shabbat beloved, the Shabbat lover, the friend, the presence, the possibility of tranquility. Boi b'shalom materet ba'ala, gam b'simcha ובצוהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, שבת המלכה. איי 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 לך אדוני, איי לילי קרס, כמת, איי לילי בני, שמגד, איי לילי כמילה. Ay la 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 ya ba ba ya ba ba, ay la 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 ya ba ba, ay ay la 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 ya ba ba ya ba ba, ay la 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 ya la 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 la, ay la ya ya la la la, ay la 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 ya la la la, ay la 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 ya ya oh, ay na 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 na. On page 27 and 28, we remain standing as we sing a psalm for Shabbat Mizmor Shir Yom HaShabbos. Tov lehodos Adonai lezamer l'shimcha elyon lagid v'avokei chastecha v'emunascha v'leilos aleyasor v'leinaver v'ligayin chior v'yisimchtani v'alech maser necha v'nein magod masech yom v'odam kuv makshiv osech yishba leidach zilei. Tzadik katamari ke'eres malvanon yisket shesonim beis Adonai v'chatzros Eloheinu yafrichu. Od yenovon neseva d'sheim d'inanim yeyu lehagin yashar Adonai sori velo alasat Adonai Malakeos Lavesh. On page 29, in the Hebrew, in the remarkable English translation, the Rabbi Hammer, infinity robed in loftiness, wreathed in majesty, surely the world will never be shaken. This throne is rooted in the ages. You are eternal. Sacred rivers arise. Their voices sound, they raise up a soaring above the voices of the great waters, above the crashing of the sea's waves, sublime in the heights is the one. Edosecha, nemnu mi'olves kana v'kodesh, Adonai le'orech yamim. We pray for those who are in need of healing at this moment. We bring to mind not only those who are in need of healing prayers, but also those who are in the first week of mourning. In particular, I bring to mind Romemu member and friend, dear friend Sally Paredes, who lost her beloved father this week. And all of those tonight whom you're holding in your heart, anyone who needs a prayer for healing tonight. And please join us on page 113 with the words of the Psalm in 143, 147. Harafei l'shvurei umchabesh li'atzmota mune mispar לכוכבים לכולם שמות יקרא. Healer of the broken hearted, binder of our wounds, counter of uncountable stars. You know who we are. Rifanala. Mishaberach Avotenu V'Imotenu, may the one who bless their ancestors bless all of those who need healing tonight. May they be healed in body and heart, mind, and spirit. As we see them, as we feel them, as we hear them and touch the quality of who they are in our lives. And we pray that that presence that we bring to them might also bring and effectuate greater wholeness in every level. And we all say Amen. Amen. You may be seated, everybody. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Good Shabbos. It's good to see you, Dr. Renee. It is so good to see you in the space. What a bracha, what a blessing. It's good to see all of you here this evening. If the week is still in you, I invite you to release it. Just let it go. And if you thought, oh, Romemu usually has some kind of guitar or piano player, tomorrow. We're so happy to be leading worship with all of you, together with all of you and all of those here, over there, wherever you are, friends near and far, some 64 screens of you, and wherever you are, we hope and pray that you are bringing in Shabbat in a beautiful way. A couple of very brief announcements right now, and then we'll just say hello to new folks. Tomorrow morning, our open book will be at 8:45. Note that this evening's mental health Shabbat dinner with speaker Susan Lax has been canceled. I hope everybody knows that. And if you didn't, there it is. And again, open book tomorrow at 8:45, followed by Shabbat morning services. Tomorrow will be double simcha, double celebration tomorrow morning. We'll have a chance to lift up the beautiful and amazing and remarkable bat mitzvah of Molly, who's here. Molly, why don't you stand up so everybody can see you? Molly's bat mitzvah tomorrow, everybody. Mazel tov to the entire family. And also tomorrow, there's going to be a kiddush and a celebration honoring our remarkable Rabbi Mira Rivera, who will be expanding her ministry, expanding her work in the world as of July 1st. And until July 1st, she will be finishing up her 5 years of service here at Romemu, which is pretty amazing. We are feel so blessed by that. And so everybody here is invited to the Kiddush tomorrow as well in honor of Rabbi Rivera. Also, I'm going to make that announcement tomorrow. I don't want to make that announcement tonight. Well, okay. In honor of Rabbi Rivera's service to the Romemu community and her commitment to caring for all of those in need and advocating for all, we have renamed the Social Action Fund the Rabbi Rivera Social Action Fund. And some other things also to honor that remarkable woman who has graced us with her presence. Many of you sponsored the Kiddush tomorrow, and on our handout, I can't name all of them. There are about 40 sponsors here. But a huge thank you in particular to Stephen Weinstein for donating the wine for tomorrow's Kiddush. Sure, why not? Mata Esther Brownstein, Shelley and Jeff Kahn, Geneva Charkey, Katerina Bartha and Patrick Daniels, Nancy Dallett, Rabbi Janice Elster, Lori Schwartz, Friedman and Stuart Friedman, Carol Foreman, Ross Jan Fortune, Daniel Banner Hashimoto and Ms. Hashimoto, Ariel and David Ingber, Andrea Reacher. It's hard to hear. Like, well, Jacques Just, Mrs. Petre, Lauren Adelson, Jeremy Katz, Pearl Kipnis, Ramit Kreitner, Linda Landis, Susan Oliver, Ron Lieberman, thank you, Deborah Pastner, and Luisa Weckman, and Armando Peralta, Rafael Pimenta, Shira Stein, Justin Ruberg, Kevin Sachs, Jordy Siegel, David Siegman, Sue Schwartz, Bruce Solomon, Robin Arrington, and David Stone, Renee Sutton, Lisa Sorota Weiner, and Douglas Weiner, Ilana Klugman, and Jeff Weston, Jennifer Goldman, and Jeffrey Wetzler, Margot and Charles Wolfson, Lori Wolko, and the partridge in a pear tree. Okay, all of those amazing people, thank you so much for your contributions and all of those who will be coming in on this Tuesday night. We'll have an opportunity to be in dialogue with Joseph Rosenstein, Dr. Joseph Rosenstein, who's one of the founders of the National Chavurah Committee and the author of the acclaimed Siddur 8 Ratzon and the Machzor 8 Ratzon, which we use at over 100 congregations. We use it for our high holiday Machzor. He's a mathematician who has an emeritus. He is a tenured professor of math at Rutgers University and also related to our very own Eric Davis. And he has an original new book, a book that's an original take on Pirkei Avot, the ethics of the ancestors. It boldly sets forth a really new vision for this work, and that's Tuesday night in our lifelong learning. And in commemoration of Juneteenth, the Jewish Emergent Network and IKAR explore urban farming, land justice, and how we can live out the sacred message of Shemitah by caring for vulnerable members in our society. That program is part of the Jewish Emergent Network in partnership with Chazon, Reboot, and Shemitah Yisraelit, and also co-sponsored by Romemu. I think that's about it for our announcements. Hope all of that was relevant and nourishing and might be useful to all of you. Anybody here for the first time would love to say hello. Note to people online, if there are any first-timers, now would be a good time for you to introduce yourself in the chat area. Welcome. Good to have you. Okay. Relatively. Paul or Jean-Paul? Jean-Paul. Okay, great. And you're a student right nearby. What's your name? Bertina? Okay, Bertina, welcome. Okay. Anybody else? Okay.
Hi, everyone. My name is Erica. I'm here with my...
That mic's not working. Wait a second. I don't know why.
Hello. All
There
right.
you go.
Hi, everyone. My name is Erica. I'm here with my friend Aria.
Aria?
Yes.
So Erica and Aria.
Ariel.
Ariel.
Yes.
Got it. Welcome. Nice to have you.
We're social work students at Columbia.
Ah, okay.
Welcome.
Lovely. Awesome. Really good. Okay. Anybody else? All right. Let's rise together for our call to prayer. Eden Davis is here. Thank you, Eden, for being with us. da da da. Dee da 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 da. Da 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 da. Baruch Hu es Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam
Baruch Adonai
Vaed.
HaMevorach Leolam Vaed. Baruch Ham. You may be seated on page 33 and 34. Ruach Shekhinah Eloheinu
Blessed
Olam.
we will be guided.
ומחליף על הזמנים וזרק כל המשרות המרכיר כסונם. ויש יום הלילה כל אלה סונם לכל שבכל שגננו. ומעביר היום מביא הלילה. ומעביר בין יום ובין לילה יצוות שמה. אל חי וקיים תמיד תמלך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוכה את שכינה המריבה ערבים. Avat Olam Beit Yisrael on page 35 and 36. Beit Yisrael Yehem Chayenu v'yorech yameinu uvahem nege yomam v'layla v'avascha tasir mimenu li'olamim Baruch ata Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael. Prepare for the Shema on page 37 and 38. Shema Yisrael
Adonai Elohim Adonai
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם ושתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשכמך ובקומך וקשרתם לעוז על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכסבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. ויום שמות ישמעו page 41 and 42, 43, 44. היום אדוני אלוהו שלמור דבר בני ישראל ממרת עלים יצאו ציציס. Morgan baby dayam ador samnas moti. The Mandis Guruvas Isemet comments on Sabi, some Gurushim Lechayan, Yadon and Himasho Tzis Yesam. May earth be trying, Yosachem Elohim. Adonai Elohim, Amen. באמונה כל זאת וקיים אלינו כי הוא אדוני אלוהים תמיד לעשות. ובנים אזכרו שבחו ויודו לשמו. On page 47 and 48, ומלכוסו ברצון קיבלו עליהם. משה מרים בני ישראל לכנו שירם, בשמחה רבה, ויאמרו כולם. מי כמוך באלים אדוני.
מי כמוך נדר בקודש,
נורא סיילות.
אוסף אלה.
מלכוסך רוב הנכבה קיים לפני משה ומרים. זה אלי אנו ויאמרו. אדוני ימלוך לעולם
ועד.
ונאמר כבוד אדוני יעקב וגולם יד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל השכיבנו. On page 49 and 50, אדוני אלוהינו לשלום. ועמידנו מלכים לחיים, ופרוס עלינו סוכה שמונך וסכנין ויצר טובה מלפניך. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ברוך אתה אדוני, הפרי סוכת שלום, עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל, ועל כל יושבי סבל, ועל Yerushalayim. Please rise if you're able. On verse 51 and 52. Meshameru b'nei Yisrael es ha-Shabbat
לעשות השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Hanak Be'yi Uve'mene Yisrael Osim
לעולם.
Misheishes
ימים עשה אדוני
Es השמיים
את
הארץ
וביום השביעי שבת וינפל.
חצי קדיש on page 51 and 52 יזכדל ויזכדש שמי רבה על מה דברך ירוסי ויאמנת מלכוסי בחייכנו ויומכון ובחייכון בית ישראל בעגלה בעגלה ובזמן קורי וימרו
אמן.
יהי שמי רבה מבורך עולם ומעל מאיה יסברך וישתבח ויספאר וישרומם ויסנסי ויסהדר ויסעלה ויסעלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכסך ושיר עשה תושבך and let us say
Amen.
stand together for Amidah, which can be found on page 56. A number of other options are available. Choose your Amidah. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, God, my love, my Redeemer. Oh Lord, prepare me to be your sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and in thanksgiving I'll be a living sanctuary for you. La 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 ועשו לי מקדש
ושכנתי בתוכה, ואנחנו נברך יהוה מעתה ועד עולם.
Please rise if you're able. On page 73, Vayechulu Hashemayim. Vayechulu Hashemayim v'haaretz v'chol tzevam. Vayichal Elohim bayom hashvi'i melachto asher asa. Vayishvos bayom hashvi'i mikol melachto asher asa. Vayivarech Elohim es yom hashvi'i. Vayikadesh oso, ki bo shavas mikol melachto, asher bara Elohim. Page 75 and 76. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu le'avoseinu v'imoseinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, El Gadol HaGibor Nora, El Elyon, Konei Shamayim va'aretz, Magen Avos bidvaro, Mechayem etim b'mamaro, Ha'el HaKadosh she'ein kamohu, Haminiach li'ama b'yom Shabbat kadsho, Ki v'amratza le'aniach lachem, לפניו נעבוד ביראה והפחד, ונודה לשמו בכל יום ותמיד, מעין הברכות. אל ההודעות אדון השלום, מקדש השבת וברך שביעי, ומניח בקדושה לעמדו שני עונג, זכר למעשה בראשית. אלוהינו ולאבותינו ואימותינו וצא במנוחתנו. Kadeshenu b'mitzvosecha, v'simcha ken b'sorasecha, tzav'enu mituvecha, v'samach nafshenu b'shuasecha, v'tahir libenu li'avdecha v'emes, v'anchilenu Adonai v'yava, v'ratzon Shabbos kodshecha, v'nuchu b'am Yisrael, v'kadeshei shemecha. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh HaShabbat. Yiskanda v'yiskanda shmei rabba.
Amen.
ויאמר דברה חידושי ומלחמה חסד בחייך ומחנו בחייך ובית ישראל בגלה בזמן קריב ואימרו יש מרבה מבורך ועלם מעל מאייס יסברך וישתבח ויספאר ויסלמה ויסנסה ויסהדר ויסעלה ויסעלה שמי דקודשה Leila min kol birchosa v'shirasa tishbachasa v'nechemasa da'amiram v'oma v'imiru.
Amen.
Yitzgabel tzilo sanu v'sonu v'yisrael kanu v'yishmai v'imiru.
Amen.
Yeish lamer avim shemai v'chayim malinu v'kol Yisrael v'imiru.
Amen.
Ose shalom b'mromav
Yaseh
v'yaseh shalom
shalom.
aleinu v'yalkol
Yisrael.
v'yalkol yoshvei tevel v'imiru. There was a period of my life when I was much younger, when I kind of very much wanted to become a monk. There was a part of me that really was a very intense young man and pretty intense child too. I was an intense person. And there was a part of me that felt that, you know, there's a Hasidic saying that if you stick in the middle of the road, you'll wind up in the mud like all the rest of the horses. I didn't want to be in the middle, stuck in the middle with everybody. I kind of wanted to take something and see it till it kind of comes to its fullest expression in its most intense way. So I was drawn to extreme things, and I was very drawn to extreme religious experience and wanting to have extreme religious experience. And when I was in my early 20s, I had many extreme religious experiences because I followed a path of asceticism as a young Orthodox man, fasting and eating only at certain moments of the day and other kind of classic ascetic practices. And so when I left Judaism for almost 12 years, I was very drawn to being a monk. I went and got some pamphlets from various Buddhist monasteries. Not anything, I wasn't interested in becoming a monk in the Carmelite tradition. I don't think they would allow me, but I wasn't interested in going to Gethsemane and following the footsteps of Trappist monks, but I was fascinated by it, and I read books about it. And so you might be surprised to know that a monk or some version of the monk appears in this week's Torah portion. In Parshat Naso, there is this kind of topic called the Nazarites. How many people heard of the Nazarite? Okay, a couple of Nazarite knowledgeable people. So I think my first exposure to the Nazarite was not through the Bible, but through a movie about Samson and Delilah. Probably prompted by Tom Jones. My father had Tom Jones, you know, why Delilah, but I don't know. Somehow watched a movie about Samson and Delilah and saw this remarkably strong hero that is depicted in the book of Judges, who brought down the Philistines with his strength. And his strength was, of course, from God because he didn't cut his hair and he had been a Nazarite from birth. That became a category called Nazarite, Nazir Shimshon, a Samsonite Nazarite. And what's a Nazarite? Where does it come from? Well, it comes from this week's Torah portion, as I said, where the Torah says that if a person wants to take upon themselves a vow to become this thing called a Nazarite, the word Nazir probably comes from crown, a crown jewel, like the crown around the head. There are a lot of textual similarities between the high priest, the greatest and most holy person, and the Nazarite. So this holy person takes a vow, and they abstain from anything having to do with wine or grapes. They don't cut their hair. They don't come into contact with death. Pretty extreme. And the Torah then does something very odd, which is kind of where I am today. The Torah says about this Nazarite that at the end of their period of abstinence, whatever that period's length is, they are to bring a korban chatat. They have to bring a sin offering. Not only do they have to bring a sin offering, but they're also called kadosh. They're called holy. The only such person in the Torah with the designation of being holy. So this holy person has to bring a sin offering, which of course begs the question, if they're so holy, can you all answer the question? Like, right? If they're holy and they're called kadosh, they're called holy. That's the designation, like holy guy, right? The only other person in Torah that's called holy is the high priest. Had to have holy to God on their forehead. Imagine that is a pretty funky tattoo, holy to God. And so Nazarite has to bring a sin offering, and yet it's called holy. That's a little bit confusing. We call that a double message. Which one am I? Am I holy or am I a sinner? So first, the nature of the sin is unclear, and then the nature of the holiness is unclear. So a number of options are available to figure this out. One theory, which is the most prominent theory in the Talmud, and then of course it's codified in Maimonides, Rambam, and others, is that the sin offering here is being brought because abstinence is not a value in Jewish life. It might be a temporary value if one needs to do it, but generally speaking, being in the middle of the road is much better. Not like I was thinking about the horses. That in the golden mean of Maimonides and in Aristotelian philosophy, extremes are to be avoided because extremes lead towards the path that is not the path of the good. The good is being able to balance between extremes. Not someone who never gets angry, not someone who gets angry because they can't find their sock. But between those two poles and that polarity on that spectra, better to be in the middle. And sometimes the Torah recognizes that in order to come into the center and be in the middle, one has to go to one extreme, right? If I'm extreme this way, I go extreme this way. And maybe, as they imagined, you go back into the middle at the end of it all. And so the sin here is the sin of abstinence itself. Even if it has a temporary heuristic purpose, it has some means to an end. It's a extrinsically worthwhile thing to engage in. It's not the Torah's ideal. And so you bring a korban chatat. Another opinion says no. And we've discussed this in the shul over the last decade plus. There's the opinion of Nachmanides, the great Spanish commentator, who says, in fact, the entirely opposite, 180-degree perspective on Maimonides. For Nachmanides, the sin of the Nazarite is not taking the vow to abstain, but in ending the period of abstinence. Here you are, you're logged on to the Holy One, and you decide to stop after a month, right? What do you have to do? What could you possibly need to do if that is the highest value, which is to be connected to God at all times, and the Nazarite is the Holy One? Your sin is brought when you finish your period of abstinence as a way of saying, I'm sorry, I have to go. I like the opinion offered by Simcha Meir Devinsk, great 19th century commentator, who says like this: there's never a problem, and Maimonides is always right. Judaism is not an extreme religious tradition, or if it is, it's rarely so, and it's not the general majority opinion. One should embrace the world, one should enjoy the world, one should, even as the Talmud says, one must bring a sin offering for every beautiful thing that one saw that one didn't enjoy. This is a world that was given to us. To be human is to be blessed. To be incarnate, to be of the body, is to be blessed. We have no notion of original sin in our tradition. We have no notion of the guilt or the shame that would be part and parcel of what it is to enjoy this world. But as Maimonides says, sometimes we need a period of abstinence. Sometimes we need a period of removal of certain things so that we might have right relationship, to use Buddhist terminology. We might be in right relationship to certain things. And Simcha Meir Advin says, well, if you might ask me then, if my opinion is that the sin, of course, is in abstaining, why is someone called holy then, right? That was the original problem. He says, if you look very carefully at the verses, it doesn't say that the person is holy, but that they will be holy. Not kadosh hu, but kadosh yihiyeh, the future tense. The holiness is not intrinsic as they are in the state of abstinence, but in the aftermath of it, as they come out of it, as if it's conditional on actually coming out and finding balance. So in Meir Simcha Devinsky's idea, we come to this Nazarite individual, this one who abstains. The sin is, as it were, in having to have a right relationship. It's the missing of the mark. I've gone in one extreme and now I'm needing to find the other and say, okay, great. We're going to bring a sin offering. It's not ideal. And what about being holy? Meir Simcha Devin says, nope, no problem. We'll wait and see when things resume and when you come out of this period of abstinence, whether or not you actually indeed changed your life, whether you took the lesson to heart. We'll wait. on your holiness status. I love this opinion because I can't not feel as if we are literally in that moment now. For 2 years, we have been in some version of Nazarite consciousness. As a community, collectively, individually, a sense of abstaining from life because it was forced upon us. And during that time, it's possible, I don't know about you, but it's possible that we might have come to some realization about something more appropriate about our perspective on various things in this world. During that time, maybe some realizations dawned on us. Maybe at some point we realized, that we had gone in one extreme towards X and needed to go back in the other way. And we thought to ourselves, okay, I could have learned this lesson a little bit differently instead of having to not see anybody for 2 years or not talk to anybody or have masks on constantly. And I'm wondering to myself, as we come not out of it yet, but coming in a way, we're kind of leading ourselves out of the crisis. We're not yet out, but there's a kind of opening. And I can hear the Rebbe, Simcha Meir with Vince saying, we're going to wait and see if you, in fact, can be called holy. We're going to wait and see if the commitments and the realizations held. If, in fact, there won't be a rubber band effect. If, in fact, you actually will not have to become a Nazarite again and again and again and again because it didn't stick. So that's what I'm thinking about, the Shabbos. I'm thinking about that future tense. Holy you will be. United you will be. Well-adjusted you will be. More loving you will be. More just you will be. More appropriately relating to the world around us you will be. That you will be is vital. I'm just thinking about it. Because if Maimonides was right, and he often was, it's a great opportunity when we've come out of an extreme period in our lives to really go back towards the more natural and healthy middle position, to come out of extremes, to come out of all or nothing thinking, black and white, this or that, to be able to be in right relationship to the world. The Nazarite abstains, yes. Extreme, yes. A little bit not ideal, yes. But it's up to us to retroactively affirm the brilliance of the Nazarites' strategy. That's in our hands. It could be that the abstinence was for nothing. It could be that everything we did was absolutely like, the Nazarite saying, I'm never going to drink wine ever again. And within 1 week, he's drinking wine completely and he's back, on the wagon, off the wagon, on the wagon, off the wagon. I can't tell you how many people in the pandemic told me that never again will they doubt the power of community. I can't tell you how many people during the pandemic, when Romemu and other synagogues and churches and mosques and ashrams and all the other, right, they said, you are essential workers. Just like the essential workers are showing up and putting themselves on the line to bring us food and so on. This is an essential good that I will never, ever in my life, ever do without ever again. I get it. I really get it. I took it for granted. There you were around the corner. There you were a block away. There you were. And now I know that just that hour and a half on a Friday night, that hour and a half on Shabbat morning, oh my goodness, man, I can't tell you how many people said how silly that I was going to Soul Cycle. What was I thinking? How could I miss this Torah service? What was I thinking? I cannot tell you how many people during the pandemic wrote to me and wrote to Rabbi Mira and wrote to colleagues. Now we get it, right? You don't know what you got until it's gone. But I found out just a little too late. So here we are, 2 years. Kadoshi, yeah, will we be holy? Will we build community again? Will we walk our talk again? Or will we slide? Think about that every single day, because the numbers are not looking good. The numbers are not looking good in synagogues across the country, in churches across the country, in other social and communal contexts across the country. It's not looking great. But I have faith. I do. I do have faith. I have faith that, as a young woman taught me today, if there's a desire for harmony, if there's a desire for peace, if there's a desire for our values, if there's a desire for the good, that desire is not going to be manifest in everybody, but in those who hunger and remember. It can happen. And even if it's unattainable, she said, it's worth striving for. Kadosh Yihiyeh. We can do it. If we look back upon the pandemic, it'll be a really sad state of affairs if in a couple of years from now we'll look and say that the pandemic did not break this community and other communities. It did not break us socially because we had Zoom. And then the very thing that held us together during the pandemic was what actually condemned us afterwards. That from the pandemic, we would sit at home and say, I can't believe I'm still staring at this camera. And then we find ourselves, even when we no longer have to, continuing to do so. Won't that be a shame? Won't that be a really big shame? And any other crisis in our lives? Wouldn't it be a horrible shame if after someone we know who's quite young passes away, we say to ourselves, you know what? Man, I am telling you, I'm getting my stuff in order tomorrow. Like Rav Nachman of Breslov says, you know, we learned this today in our Hasidic Masters class. Rav Nachman of Breslov, the great 19th century great-grandson of the Baal Shem Tov, the founder of the Hasidic movement, Rav Nachman of Breslov said, V'chol yom Adam yachol lamut. In any moment, any day, a person can say, okay, I'm not here any longer. Hayim lo, he said, isn't it horrible? Be'einecha levazot zman al machloket. Isn't it horrible, Rav Nachman says, to waste time on fighting and on factionalism and on internecine squabbles? Spoken like someone who spent his whole life in factionalism and conflict and struggles. But he just hit us like today in our class. He said, don't waste a crisis. Don't waste a period of nizirut, because it's hanging in the balance, and you and I and all of us can turn the holy that might be into the holy that is. Please rise for the Aleinu on page 77 and 78. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latei gidula leyotzer reshit, she'elo asanu ki goyei haratzot, ve'lo samanu im mishpachot ha'adama, she'sam chelkeinu imahem, ve'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu V'hashevota El levavecha Ki Adonai Hu Elohim V'hashevota El levavecha Ki Adonai Hu Elohim Vashamayim Ra'avash V'nagin Elokeinu Kabbalat Shabbat Melachim wrote me here with the better sechel page 79 and 80. Ki v'chol b'nei basar kumishmecha lavnot ilecha kol v'sher tekiri du kol yoshvei tevel. Amalchut shelcha yil mi'atim lach v'chavod. Hakasu b'sorasecha Adonai yimloch li'olam va'ed. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו You may be seated unless you are in mourning or remembering a loved one. We invite you to stand if that is the case. Those in their chat room, invite you also to put in the names of loved ones that you're remembering so that I might call them out as well. Again, once again, we lift up the memory of Sally Paredes' father, Basil, and we bring into this room these loved ones as well. If you say the name loudly, I can repeat it. Elsie Zacher and Sylvie Goldman, Renee. William Emerson Hill and Shirley Ann Simmons. Yehuda ben Abraham and Sarah. Theo. Theo's wife Lisa and baby Eileen Arsenal, and what was it again? Dave LaFort. Iva. Shula Koenig and Penny Wentcart. Rosal Bat Yeshia and Malka, Evan Burks, Emery Fleischer, Gabby Van Oken, Eugene Litwack, Joan Wolf, Luna Sun, and Joe Ingber. Okay. And the cherished father of Joanie Miller, and Joanie, William Miller, and her grandmother, Gussie Kaplan, Charlotte as well, Charlotte Frank, Evan Burks, Gavin Sword, Libby Offenster Fluxman, and Yini Work, Casa Yitzchak. And all of those within the first year of mourning. We lift up all of those in our community as we rise, if that is your custom, for the Mourner's Kaddish. Mother of Stuart Friedman. The Mourner's Kaddish can be found in your Siddur, page 115 and 116. Iskadal v'Iskadash Rabba.
Amen.
Yomad Ibrach Yosei v'Yamlich Malchusei. V'chaychon v'Yamechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. V'agala v'zman kori v'imru. Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba mivarach v'olam v'yamaya. Yitvarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei. Yitadar v'yitale v'yitala shmei d'kudsha b'richu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata. V'shbechata v'nechimata da'amiran v'oma v'imru. Amen. Yehi Shlom Rabba min Shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mama. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru.
Amen.
Amen. Yehi Zichram Baruch, may their memory be a blessing. We invite everybody to be seated for a moment. So friends, a big yesher koach tonight into this cup of blessings, some thanks to Victor and to Elliot and Jeffrey, and I think Zoe is online. Thank you, Zoe. And a big thank you also to our lay leaders who led tonight's candle lighting as well. And a yesher koach to Shoshana Jedwab for her percussion. And a big thanks also tonight to our ambassador in Great Neck, the inimitable Joanie Miller, whom we lovingly call Aunt Joanie, who dedicated tonight's online sponsorship in honor of her father, William, and her Bubby, Gussie. And so we lift them up as well. Thank you to you, Aunt Joanie. We really, really appreciate it. Asher kochech, huge yesher koch to you. And to all of our friends here in the Zoom room. Friends, we know that the hybrid world is a challenging world, and we're trying our best to get it right. And it's iterative, and we're doing it. And so thank you to all of you who are there, holding down the fort wherever you are. Neshama and Andrea and, let's see, Rachel and Daniel and Amy and Deborah and Sharon and Jessica, Amy Fleischer, Nancy Dallett and Adele and Myron and Ariella and Helio down in Brazil, Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. We're so happy. Lift up your cup of blessing, everybody, as we all stand together and rise for tonight's Kiddush. Once again, just to remind you that tomorrow morning at 8:45, the open book. This is going to be a hybrid. I'll be teaching it downstairs. Join us in person and also on, I guess, on site and also online. And Vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chotzivam. Page 88. Vayichal Elohim vayom hashvi'i melachto asher asa. Vayishbos vayom hashvi'i mikol melachto asher asa. Vayivarech Elohim es yom hashvi'i. Vayikadesh oso. Kiva Shavas Mikol Melachto Asher Bara Elohim Lasot Savri Chavirai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher quirushanu b'tzosav v'ratzavanu v'shavas kodsho mi'ava v'ratzon inchilanu zikaron l'maseh reishis. Ki hu yom techila lemikrae kodesh zecher litzias Mitzrayim. Ivanu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta im kol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha ahava v'ratzon imchalta nu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Also, don't forget that tomorrow we'll be celebrating Rabbi Rivera with a Kiddush and services. Thank you to Paul Solomon for being our greeter tonight. That's Paul Solomon, folks. And if you're a member of the community or not, and you're warm, extroverted, and love talking to people, we could use some greeters, everybody. So let us know online. We can let us know online. We appreciate it. Shabbos, everybody. Good Shabbos. Shalom Aleichem Malachei Hasharei Malachei Malachei Melachim
Kadosh Baruch Hu.
Bochem leshalom malachei hashalom malachei Elyon Shabbos Becca Sarah Baruchuni Baruchuni leshalom malachei hashalom malachei Elyon melech malchei amlachim kadosh baruch hu ay tzechem leshalom malachei
Shalom malachei
Elyon melech malchei amlachim kadosh baruch hu. Shabbos, everybody. Good Shabbos.
Ya la 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 la